I was recently sent an interesting article on an ancient site that I had never heard of before, but when I saw that it was about something called the Spanish Stonehenge, it piqued my interest. I am always on the lookout for new discoveries within the archaeological community, though in this case it's more of a rediscovery. The Dolmen of Guadalperal, also known as the Spanish Stonehenge for its similar layout and appearance to the Stonehenge of the United Kingdom, is the site of a megalithic stone circle. It was created sometime during the Bronze Age, dating back to about 3000 BC, a few hundred years before Egypt's Old Kingdom. These ancient ruins are located outside of the town of Peraleda de la Mata, Spain, about a 2-hour drive southwest from Madrid. When I visited Spain back in 2017, I was able to experience many historical sites, though it would have been impossible to see this monument at the time, as it has sat submerged beneath a man-made reservoir until now. The Dolmen of Guadalperal has spent the last several decades beneath the waters of the Valdecañas Reservoir on the Tagus River. It has only been partially visible a handful of times since the 1960s, when the water level becomes low enough for the tops of the stones to be seen. On August 18, 2022, the sunken ruins resurfaced due to extreme drought conditions in the region. Dolmens are megalithic structures and monuments thought by archaeologists to have been primarily used as tombs or burial sites. These ancient sites can be found throughout the world, spanning from South Korea to Ireland and beyond. Many have been found with skeletal remains buried beneath or near the structures. I am working on another video that goes into further detail on these relatively unknown structures. The Dolmen of Guadalperal, however, was built in the form of a stone circle, which is assessed to have been used as, you guessed it, an astronomical marker or solar calendar. To me, this demonstrates that many ancient humans had a common knowledge base on construction methods, culture, and especially astronomy. We see this in almost every ancient site around the world, and in places where it would have been impossible for cultures to have encountered one another, or so mainstream history has taught us. Dating megalithic sites is very difficult, as radiocarbon dating cannot assess exactly when stones were placed, though remains uncovered, such as tools, pottery, burials, and charcoal ash, can help to roughly place these in the historical timeline. Though who is exactly responsible for this construction has baffled researchers and will likely remain a mystery. The layout of the dolmen consists of 150 granite stones placed in a vertical arrangement. At its current state, which has been degraded extensively due to erosion, it is difficult to determine the exact purpose of the alignments. Leading east from the stone circle toward the reservoir is what appears to be an entrance corridor. This suggests to me that it was likely meant to be aligned in some way with the rising sun. Petroglyphs have been found at the site featuring a serpent and several chalice-like objects. These carvings likely represent a ceremonial or religious purpose. The stones are surrounded by a protective earthen mound and covered with gravel, which is bordered by another circular ring of smaller stones. Some researchers theorize that the stone serpent carvings represent a map displaying the flow of the Tagus River, which when compared side by side is rather convincing. If true, it would make this one of the earliest maps to be discovered in Europe. The Dolmen of Guadalperal was first discovered in 1926 during a research and excavation campaign in the region. The assessment of the site's use was likely as a burial enclave and later used as a solar temple. Roman remains were found at the site, indicating the area had been spared from looters, at least up until that time frame. Other artifacts such as tools, weapons, and pottery shards were found and assessed to have been from the original builders. Regrettably, excavations ceased on the site when water levels began to rise, and has hindered archaeologists' attempts at further researching the stones and what remains of their engravings. In 1964, completion of the Valdecañas Reservoir on the Tagus River, which was part of a series of civil engineering projects overseen by the Spanish government, submerged the monument. Unfortunately, it is only visible when the water level becomes distressingly low. Severe drought conditions in the Iberian Peninsula over the past decade have fully exposed the monument on a few occasions. Prior to the August 2022 exposure of the site, the last occurrence of this was in July 2019, for the first time in nearly 50 years. It's worth mentioning that the dolmens of Guadalperal are not the only interesting objects to resurface recently due to severe drought. As I searched through additional articles, I came across 2 more instances of this occurring within days of each other. On August 19, 2022, low water levels in the Danube River near the port of Prahovo, Serbia, revealed the hulls of over 20 German naval vessels sunk during World War II. Additionally, on August 20th, reports of receding water levels on the Yangtze River in China uncovered 3 Buddhist statues believed to be over 600 years old. Though these sites have been occasionally visible over the past several decades and are not significant finds, I feel it is important to note, as this shows what lies just beneath the surface of our known waterways. If these are the historical sites and relics we know about, what else is waiting to be found? How much of our history lies underwater right off our coasts? The last several thousand years have shown the rise and fall of sea levels, and I'm sure there are plenty of mysteries to uncover. If you are nearby to these areas, I suggest visiting these sites if it's safe to do so before they disappear beneath the waves once more.